Out here is a strategy, and a strategy is a recipe. It tells for each forecast which action to take. So if you're going to use a strategy, let's call it S1. Your strategy is pretty simple. It's going to say something like, if the forecaster says sunny, I'm going to dress however. If the forecaster says dubious, I'm going to dress whatever. If the forecaster says sunny, I'm going to dress whatever. So a strategy is just a simple mapping. And the mapping is from the observation space to the action space. See, now I'm getting a little of math lingo here, but that's what mathematicians do. They put a certain lingo into things. So a strategy takes the observation space, which is what the weather forecaster gives us, and simply maps it to what action am I going to take. If you have 3 possible forecasts and 3 possible actions, L, M, and H in dress, how many strategies do you have? Come on, your teachers told me you're the smartest kids around.
27.
27. Okay, very good. That means you either read ahead or you are really smart. So three observation possibilities, 3 action. The number of possible strategies is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 to the third or 27. So all right, so let's list them out. In this case, you can list out all 27. One strategy is if the weather forecaster says X1, then I dress with the low dress. If he says X2, low dress. X3, low dress. So S1 says, I don't care what the weather forecaster says. I'm going out in my summer sunny clothing. All right, that's a strategy. Ways that you can do this. S6 is kind of the one that probably you would gravitate to naturally. If the weather forecaster says sunny, go low. If the weather forecaster says dubious, go medium. If the weather forecaster says rain, go heavy. Right? Probably. Is that the best? Well, we don't know yet. We'll continue on. But got the idea for the strategies? Okay. So there's S10 through S18, S19 through S27. All right. First problem for you. Which strategy would you choose? Write it down for later reference. Now, let's think about it just a minute. What do you, at least logically, have to consider here?
The facts we have.
The facts you have, keep going, more specifically. What may shift this decision around? You know, we looked at S6. S6 sounded natural. The weather forecaster says A, I'll go with that. B, I'll do this. See, what might change from that strategy? What might change your strategy from going with S6?
Forecast.
The what?
The forecast.
The forecast? Yes, sir. Come on. What would possibly change?
Weather.
The weather. Yeah. But
if you had a huge consequence for wearing the wrong clothes, let's say.
exactly. No, that's exactly. But the answer is that loss table. That loss. We haven't said anything about it here yet, have we? We haven't said anything about it yet. But at least conceptually, the losses ought to come into play here about which strategy you choose. Okay? Just think about that for a minute. It should. Now, I haven't said how. I haven't said how to do it. But at least conceptually, the losses ought to play some role. Okay. S6, as we noted, is go with the flow. I mean, it seems reasonable. What the weather forecaster says, dress accordingly. S22 is the strategy that said go opposite the flow. If the weather forecaster said sun, dress heavy. If the weather forecaster said dubious, dress medium. If the weather forecaster said rainy, dress low. But there are lots of in-betweeners. We said there's 27, right? And there's 25 other strategies in here. Now, you may like this one, and you may say, who in the world would ever do this one? But there's lots of others in between that we need to at least consider. All right, so let's quantify the goodness of a decision. And let's, for illustration, pick S6. What if the state of nature is really theta 1? What if it really is theta 1? Then, all right, now, you all are supposedly very smart in math, so hang in here with me. It's just a little equation. It says the expected loss, if the state of nature is theta 1, and you take strategy S6, and it's going to be the loss, if theta 1 is right, and you take action A1 times 60. Where did the 60 come from? That was the weather forecaster, right? The weather forecaster correctly called sunny weather 60% of the time. So if the weather forecast, 60% of the calls will have a loss of L theta 1 A1. The weather forecaster called dubious 25% of the time where the weather was sunny. So 25% of the time the loss would be theta 1 and A2. 15% of the time the forecaster called it